Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Alicia Watkins.
And I am Tiana Johnson.
And if it's happening in love, life, and relationships,
we are talking about it.
Okay, well, welcome to the Real Table Talk. And today we are talking about Cheyenne Bryant and what we would say to her if she was right here with us in this moment.
Yes, it's gone viral. Everything that could have been talked about has been said. I mean, they ripped her to shreds on so many levels. That is not what we're here to do today. We are here to have a discussion as if she was sitting right here in the room with us. And I understand you met her even before all of the scandal broke.
Yeah, right before the scandal broke, we had a beautiful conversation, my husband and myself, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I think she's a wonderful person, probably misguided. But the issue is that this is not about bringing someone down. This is about lifting her up, and also what lessons can be learned from this experience, because who you are in your authentic self is enough. You are enough. And so I think it's important to be transparent and to be honest and not to have to cover things up with smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, and there's so many different things we're going to unpack here at the table, especially when it comes to what's the cost of performance. I mean, we live in a society right now where people are performing, okay? And we do not feel she is no different in that, but we want to unpack it from a psychological level, from a sisterhood level,
yes,
from a mentorship level, social work, mental health level. We're going to unpack it all here today. And we have a special guest who is a PhD. The real one. I'm just sorry. That was a joke. Yeah, I know I like the joke, so we are going to joke a little bit. But we do have a special guest on the show. We're going to allow her the opportunity to introduce herself. Get ready, because it's about to get real at the table.
Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Donette Green, Emotional Intelligence Strategist, PhD of Law and Public Policy. I have 22 years in the social work space working for child welfare. So I am here. I'm excited, and thank you guys for having me.
Yes, and I want to just say I am Dr. Alicia Watkins. I have a PhD in social work from Florida State University. You can find my PhD, just Google it, and it'll come right on up. Alicia McLaughlin. That was my name back then, but you can find it, the title and everything. It is documented.
Well, let me pause because this is kind of why we're here to talk about this. So let me talk about my credentials. So I have 2 honorary doctorates that I'm proud of. But let me pause on that and say I was proud up until a certain point. And somewhere around 2007, I went on the journey to get my Doctor of Business Administration. I went 1 full year, all A's, doing great. And then I stopped. My business was booming. I had to focus. It wasn't until years later during COVID that I was sitting home like we all was. And I said, I took a certification program at Harvard. I did a bunch of stuff. And I said, you know what? Let me go back and finish. So I am all but dissertation with my Doctor of Business Administration. I'm very proud.
ABD, that's great.
I'm very proud. And I recently, not to get into too many details, but I recently was going to transfer schools to finish, and I ended up at another school, fell in love with their PhD in psychology program, started that program. So now I'm all but dissertation at one, PhD in psychology pending at another, and I do have my 2 honoraries. So I set that up to say, I understand this conversation from different points and from different perspectives. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but it's important for me to be honest about my journey. People do call me Dr. Tiana Johnson sometimes they don't, but that's where I am. All right, so with that, we set the tone. PhD in what?
Law and Public Policy.
Y'all heard that? In a
PhD in social work.
PhD in social work, and I have 2 honorary doctoral degrees. Because y'all know the doctoral word.
No, that is not a word. First of all, that should be the first sign. That's somebody.
Well, I think it's how you use it. But all but dissertation in my Doctor of Business Administration and PhD pending for my PhD in psychology. So now we have set the tone. So now we are here to talk about what we would say to Cheyenne Bryant.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to start first with ethics, because not only was she presenting herself as someone with a doctorate degree, she was also presenting herself as if she was a licensed therapist at some point. And I think, that is so problematic, because attached to that, she's delivering services to people, and people don't understand getting a clinical license is not for me. A clinical license is to protect the public. And so having that license, there's ethical standards. You can't misrepresent yourself. There's probably some legal issues that may happen from that. But she's offering a service to people that's not grounded in any sort of literature. It's evidence-based practice that you have to use in my practice that I stand by because I'm a social worker and I teach in an accredited program. And so it's very important that when I present myself and when I speak publicly or online or anywhere, I have to represent my field. Yeah. And so people who show up and they misrepresent themselves, I think that's problematic. And I think the public just needs to be able to ask that question.
Absolutely. I think one of the things we need to really think about is that when we think about transformation and understanding, self-awareness is the first piece, is being able to accept in who you are so that you can change. And from what I've seen, that self-awareness is not there. Like you have to be able to step outside of the noise that's going on around and then be able to say, okay, what role am I playing in this? Who am I? Yes. What have I brought to the table? And so even as professors, we are, held accountable for the lessons that we're teaching. And so this is someone who, and again, when it comes to that self-awareness, it's easy to say what the truth is. You're going all the way around that. Just like Dr. Alicia just said, you can Google Dr. Alicia and you're going to find her dissertation.
Yeah.
You can Google Dr. Dannette Green and you're going to find a Kingstonian parent's perspective on discipline using corporal punishment. And who can't just spit that, right? Yeah. And so I think the self-awareness behind it is like, at first, step outside of, okay, what's going on? What is the truth about me? And I think we're missing that. We're not getting that. But we can't get that if the person themselves isn't seeing it.
See, I think you ladies are coming from the academia, the clinical, the psychological, and how she did this with therapy. I'm coming from a different angle. I'm coming from branding, marketing, PR, the world, performative, life. You have to remember how she got in this, right? Okay. Performance, TV, reality. And it's funny because when she first blew up, just from a person that understands branding, I did look. A lot of people saying, why do we look to see? I looked before. I wanted to understand her background. I thought she gave great commentary.
She did.
But I also knew before that the credentials weren't lining up because of the words she used, because I did that too. So if you go to my bios, you're going to see Tiana Von Johnson, Doctor of Business Administration pending, or you might see, now I will say pending now. I will say pending or things like that. I don't think she quite did that. But I think at some point, as she's rising so fast, she's branded Dr. Bryant. She does have an honorary from what I understand. So she technically is Dr. Bryant, right? But her business started to become very therapy-like through everything going viral. It started to be these conversations that felt very therapeutic, but she didn't pause and look at the ethics and say, hold on, let me not use certain words. Even as a life coach, we don't use certain words. But I think it went too far.
I think you just gotta know though, because even like for myself,
how she's blowing up.
So, but you have to. There is a certain level of respect that you have to have for yourself. And even myself as a social worker, I'm sitting here with someone who has a PhD in social work. I was 22 years social work. I will never tell anyone, oh, I'm a social work PhD. That's not what I am.
Right.
I have the experience, the lived experience, right? I have a PhD in law and public policy. And then when it comes to coaching, people bring me in to do coaching, to do leadership development. And I have friends that are sometimes introducing me like, oh, this is my friend. She's a doctor. She's a psychologist. No, I'm not. Don't lie. Right? And you have to be able to say to someone, so when does society push you to a point where the brand become bigger than the truth?
Well, she's good enough without having to been honest, okay? Because the thing, I got her book. I downloaded her book and I read just the introduction so far. Already she's naming clients. That's not ethics. That's not ethical. You don't go and name clients. She's naming clients and talking about the client situation. And I'm thinking, did you get permission from that person to share their name? And if you did get permission, you need to say, by the way, I got permission to share this person's name and this person's story. I personally would never.
You can't.
Never. I wouldn't even ask a client of mine, can I use your name in my book, in your situation? I wouldn't even ask them that because there's a power differential. These are the ethical concerns that I have.
But you guys are holding her to a standard that she does not understand because she didn't go through the process that we've gone through.
Yeah.
So even with someone who has not walked with the final moment, there's some things that you ladies would know that I just don't know. But if I'm caught up, and I'm caught up in the society and societal norms and the world and the lights and the cameras and the actions, I'm missing something.
Yeah.
Where she went wrong was she took it too far.
Yeah.
She leveraged the brand. She is a true doctor honorary. She didn't quite disclose everything, and then it blew up, and then now she's trying to figure out, what do I do? But here's where I feel what I would say to her. There comes a time where you just have to own it. Like, you just have to own it. You just have to say, check this out. I'm going to keep it so real with y'all right now. Like, I would rather that real, she's a sister girl.
Yeah.
She's like us, so it's okay.
Yeah,
but you can't go, she went too far. And I think now she's trying to figure out, what do I do to pivot this mess?
And it's like, I think that, and one of the things that I say in my own framework, say more, it's ownership of impact. And so intention and impact are different, right? But you have to be able to recognize and understand that. And like you say, own it, right? Own the impact that this situation has had. And it's the first step towards change and transformation. But she could have took the humble road.
Yes.
And that's probably an embarrassing thing to do. But it would have been a lesson for someone else, for herself, and take that ownership and impact and say, hey, listen, you know what? This is what it is. This is who I am. This is what I went through. This is why I call myself Dr. Bryant. Because not for nothing, we never trademarked our name because we don't have to. It's in our publication. It's done and copyrighted that way. And so you don't have to do those things. And you intentionally did that a very long time ago because you knew. So if the population outside of yourself is now coming at you, take that ownership. Own it. Listen, this is what I did. This is why I was building a brand and it was working until it wasn't. The ethical piece, dead wrong, but I apologize. I'm going to deal with whatever comes after the fact. Because like you said, this is clinical stuff now that you've taken on. And so I think the biggest part about it is, like you said, take that ownership. Take that ownership and then take the high road and walk. But being nasty,
that we're gonna get to that. Yes, we're gonna get to that.
She doubled down on that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. But you said something. Let me tell you something. We are in a world where people are forgiving Diddy, R. Kelly, and I can go on and on.
And if they love you, they love you.
You apologize. You take your beating as you should. You take your punishment and you move on.
High road.
But you said something. It's the ego and everything that comes behind it. It's it's the lie. We know it's the lie, but you keep trying to convince us. And that's when it becomes psychological. And that's when it bothers me. So if she were sitting here, I would say, this is the biggest book, documentary. This is the biggest. Yes. You can give this interview to some major places. We will all tune in. We will break it down. We will understand, but don't do it for the paycheck. Do it for you've done the work the advice that you give. And you said, you know what? I need it. She didn't even take a minute. She's on boats and yachts and chilling and I'm not mad at you living your life.
That's okay.
But it's also a smack in the face to the people who rock with you. Yeah. And that's the problem. You could have took a 30-day sabbatical. You could have just stepped away. Think about how many people they go through something like this. They take time off. Right now, one post can say, I'm taking some time off because you know what? What I realized, it comes a time where even on my level, I need a moment to reflect, decompress, think this through, talk with my advisors. Yeah. Come back 30 days strong with Iyanla. Yeah. And have the conversation.
That is so fascinating you brought up Iyanla Vanzant because I was just going to say her name because what's beautiful about Iyanla Vanzant is that she's like, I'm a life coach. I'm not a therapist. And she says that on her show. And guess what? She still has great things to say. She's still valuable. She's still credible. She has been honest and transparent, what it seems like. She says, I'm not a licensed therapist. For that sort of thing, you need to get that done with a therapist. But I'm here to do the life coaching. Why not just say
because
that?
She's needed
fine.
what Doctor brought in her brain. What, from her perspective, remember, she's rising, and we're in a place where credibility matters. And she needed that for her level of impact. They talk about the whole light skin thing. I've been a light skin girl all my life. Y'all want to talk about this thing?
The pretty privilege part.
No, but she is. It's not fake.
Yeah, but it's in the content. It's in the work that you're delivering. She's had amazing posts. I have seen reshared in the past. Even as an emotional intelligence strategist, I've looked at some of the things that she said. And looking at my own research that I've done, and I'm like, you know what? She got something right there. Let me repost
because
this.
she's trying to get a step above. So if you have 50 amazing women that are saying some great things, because I'm Doctor saying it, it's taking her a step above.
I could be Baby D, and I said what I said. I am Baby D sometimes. And
true.
You know, at the end of the day, the credentials are. I say this all the time. IQ is going to get you in the room, right? Our brains, our brilliance, the things that it's going to get you in the room. The EQ is what's going to keep you sitting at the table, right? And so we need to understand just that. And I think that for her, like you said, sabbatical, step back, but it's not about proving anything to anybody outside. You have to be clean within yourself. And that's the piece that's missing. You have to sit back and you have to take a minute on a sabbatical, on somebody's private room right here, and sit down with a journal, if you so choose, and start to say, all right, what's going on within me?
You know what, to your point, and this is the one thing that I will say, and I can't defend her on this, who really stuck up? Like, who stuck up? I know we had the Amanda Seales thing, but even that wasn't a real sticking up for her in the way that I'm about to say it. Who were the people that were like, no, this is my good sis? Like, if something happened to you and you went viral, I'm getting on the next morning. I'm defending you. I'm like
asking for help.
Right. You wouldn't even have to ask. I'm jumping online. Like, I didn't see, unless you saw anybody that was her good sis, like her right hand.
So
saying,
does she have friends?
Like, who sent you a message? Who's reaching out to you?
And instead of being honest about it, because we can clearly look it up and find, she went around and said, you're just jealous. She got defensive and started attacking people who were just saying, hey, what's going on? And so I think her getting jealous, to me, what I saw underneath that is really some hurt. There is some deep-seated issues happening with her inside, and it is, she can't not show herself. She is showing insecurity. She is showing some place of hurt inside of her and insecurity. There's some deep level of insecurity around her to dress the way she does, to pretend the way she does. It makes me wonder, where in this fantasy world does she think that this is okay?
Well, you got to think about
it's a fantasy.
Yeah, what happened to you before
something happened?
What happened? And I'm very big on that. And you know this in our, inquiry of being social workers is the way you get to understand someone. And that would be the question that I would ask, because I believe even in talking to clients, I always believe in asking what happened to you, not going based on whatever someone else has told me, because when you do that, I give you the platform to be able to create the narrative that I'm now going to be able to work with, so that I can learn and understand this is why you move and operate the way that you have. But has she even sat down and said to herself, what happened to me?
And if I had her here today, I would offer mentorship. She needs some mentorship. I have a mentor. I have 20 plus years as a licensed therapist. My mentor has 40 years as a licensed therapist. And I meet with her once a month and probably more, depending on what's going on, because I'm to have cases and there's things that I'm dealing with. I turn to somebody who has more experience than me, and I'm always asking people for help and for assistance. What do I do with this? I've learned so much from Tiana here, and I'm soaking all of it in because I'm not perfect. And so it's just, what is that? Who's advising her?
Is ego. And then you have to look at it. Who advised you to go on a tour after this and do the things that you did? Where's the PR saying, do not do this unless you just said, I don't care what y'all
She doesn't
say.
care.
I'm doing what I want to do. And then if that's the case, then now deal with the backlash that you didn't care about.
Yeah, but when you have a book that, like Dr. Alicia
Sorry,
said,
it's hard.
and you on tour with the book, like it's still sitting in my Amazon cart because I was about to get it before all this stuff. No shade, but I read so that I can learn from the individuals, right? I can't bring myself, honestly, to now read that because I fear using that in my own research and documenting anything secondhand from someone who's now in this. I just can't, right? And so who's buying that?
I bought it. I bought it to look at it. I wanted to see what it was. And it was, I haven't read the whole thing, but what I did read, there was some problematic parts.
And I would get where you are, as even as someone who teaches ethics in, public administration and social work, that would be very, interesting for me to look at.
But she's showing her limits. Everybody has limits. Everybody has limitations, and her limitations are there. And this is a lesson for everybody. It's just that always be teachable. Always be in a position where you can ask questions. My lesson for everybody is always to have mentorship, always to get people in, always to listen to even your critics. Like, listen to what they have to say. Don't get defensive because she's hiding something. Her shadow. I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
I still take it back in my defense of some of her actions.
Okay.
Because I even look at B. Simone, who had the situation where she had a book, and this is when B. Simone was at like the height of her career. She had a book out. She didn't write it. It was like someone else's words. I think this was even before ChatGPT. And a lot of people are using ChatGPT to write books.
Ghostwriters.
Right. But she, and I don't know the full story, but from what I understand, she took all the words from someone else's book, put it out, and someone caught it. But even then, what was the reason why she felt I need to be an author? Like we do this branding thing, right? Why do I need to be an author? There's something about the authority of that. Why do I need to be Dr. Bryant? There's something about the authority of that in the space that she's in. Going back to the whole pretty privilege thing, I'm pretty, I'm this, I'm that. Let me put this added degree so that it gives me the credential that I need, because when I show up, people are not looking at me as just this educated person. They're seeing the beauty, the aesthetics, but let me figure out how to balance. Let me see how I can work all of it. Because if I'm pretty and I get this place, cool. If I just have credentials, I get this place. But if I have both, oh my God. And I think she wants to be that. And that's great. I'm with the grinding and the growing and the building, but not at the expense of the lie that you don't own and deal with it. Just deal with it, own it, and move on. Like, we are not mad. Just deal with it. She's just not. She's just refusing to do that.
People, even take her out of it for a minute. People present day are just making decisions based on past wounds. We just talk, right? So if you don't own that, you're gonna continue to have pattern after pattern of bad decision based on the crazy experiences that you've had prior to that day. And the biggest solve in all of this is own it.
Let me tell you how passionate I am about what we're talking about. For a long time, when I got into business, I didn't have a mentor. My father, who you heard on the phone earlier, was like hustler, hustle. I had to figure it out. I didn't learn taxes. I didn't understand. I took out every student loan under the sun. I didn't know. I didn't have guidance. I just went about this thing. I made my first $1 million at 27. So as I'm going through this thing called life, I'm making a lot of money. I'm understanding money, but I don't know how to keep it. I don't know how to balance it. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to handle it. But I was teaching how to make millions. I felt so bad in my spirit when I would get on the stage, because I'm like, here I am teaching people how to generate millions, but I'm so bad at keeping it, managing it. And so I even switched my talk. And this is how real I'm gonna get with y'all. I switched my talk to stop saying, let me show you how to make $1 million. Let me show you how to build $1 million brand. That's what I'm doing. Now, the management part, you might need another coach for that, because I haven't quite mastered that, because I wasn't taught, and maybe I'm successful at creating this and I know how to generate millions, but I have not mastered. I bring that up to say that that's my truth. And so even me, I'm nervous to say so many things about, if you go to look at my track record, 18 years, you don't hear me talk. I don't show. I live in a mansion. I don't show it. I have cars, but I got some debt. I got some stuff going on. I got some, right? So I don't share that publicly, but somebody could come for me and be like, hold on, sis. And if is ever shared publicly, bring it with me, because you can't tell none that I didn't tell in this book, that stage. I done talked about it already. But if there's anything that you find, I'm not hiding anything, but if there's anything that was not brought out, I can own it. And I can say, yes, this is it, this is why. And I just think that that's all she has to do in the moment.
She has such a wonderful platform. She has millions of people on Instagram. There's so much that could be done that could be so much more beneficial than just saying, well, if nobody is rocking with that, then y'all jealous of me and y'all don't like me and throwing it away. That's a missed opportunity. It could have been a beautiful opportunity for her to do so much better. Yeah.
Is there a missed opportunity at this point? Like, okay, now how many days have it, I don't know, because the people have been going.
We moved on to another story, by the way.
So many things.
Other
so
stuff.
Clearly, is there a space for her to come forward now and be like, okay, ladies, I heard what y'all said on your on a podcast.
It's going to have to be a big reveal. And she's not stupid. I think it's going to be a big reveal. I don't think she's going to like let this weigh out and then just let it fizzle out. Because we don't forget. We didn't forget unless you own it. We're not forgetting.
People still posting the phony pictures. And I hate to share them.
I don't like it.
I mean,
the Jussie Smollett picture.
Girl, that was bad. That was bad. And then, I don't know if y'all listen to Funky.
Daniva,
but that's another one. Like, you know, but it's true. Where's the picture? Where's the dissertation? That's all I want to see. If anything, even if you don't have a picture, because you know it was COVID, so
maybe you didn't go to the graduation.
I get that it happens, but the you go in my office, you're gonna see my degrees on the wall.
What is the term that they say for people who are so lost in a delusion that they're not realizing? Well, that too, but it's a word. It's a word.
Disconnection.
But here's why I say that. When she got on and good sis, this is for you because we're here to tell you what we would say if you were here. When she got on the Breakfast Club, I think we all heard the same thing, and so it's like, ouch. Like the story is like that. That's not quite how it works. And then even if that was the story, anybody can pull up the transcript. Anybody can pull it up. Pull it up and but then it switched to I don't have to prove anything to you. But buy my book
to God.
But here you do. And I'm gonna say this why. Because at Seton Hall University, Montclair State University, Southern New Hampshire University, when I got those jobs, I have to, as a professor, send them my transcript.
But she's not looking at the world as Montclair.
Well, she doesn't teach at a university, and she
can't.
can't.
What I'm saying. You need to. Those are things that we can go for jobs later on down the line. Those things have to exist for as long as.
She said,
they won't print your business cards unless you do that.
They will not.
Listen, never mind what y'all said. She said, I'm a psychology expert. I done learned this stuff. I mastered it. I read books. I don't need those degrees y'all talking about, and I have them, but I don't have to prove it. And leave me alone.
That's what she's saying.
So, the easy way out is just to say it, just to show it. Put your topic, put it out there.
She's coming across as very dismissive. She's coming across as very
defensive,
condescending, extremely condescending. And I think what was for me, I think how I benefited a little bit is I did this post. Instagram, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Y'all follow me on Instagram.
Plug.
But I did a post where I was just like, you know what? There are so many wonderful Black psychologists who have contributed so much to mental health. I just did one little post. I went running, so I was like kind of sweating. I had my hair was all crazy, had this hat on. I just did one post about Naeem Akbar, Dr. Naeem Akbar, and I talked about what a wonderful contribution he's done to like trauma and everything. Just a short little clip I did. Just thinking about things. Let's support Black psychologists who are actually doing the work that don't have 1 million followers on Instagram. I just did a little post like that, and that just went everywhere. Everybody hit the like button, but I wasn't trying to I just felt the urge to do that whole entire series because I think more attention needs to be paid to all of the Black women like ourselves who's doing it accurately, ethically, and we're doing all of the work. And we're putting all of the effort into not just getting the doctorate degree, but it's what we do with that information, what our dissertation is on. Why can't Cheyenne Bryant just talk about, you know what? let me tell you what my dissertation was about. Tell me what you learned. How did you add to the existing knowledge? Because that's what a dissertation, a PhD is. You are doing original research that no one else has ever done. What are the gaps in the research, and how did you fill that gap in knowledge? And that is all she has to say, and I was satisfied. That would be satisfactory for me.
You shut me all the way up.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you know, we talked about what we would say to our good sis if she was here. And just to wrap this up, I would say, as someone who is all but dissertation, working on a PhD in psychology, I am determined to be a psychologist. I am not a clinical psychologist, although I am a life coach. I understand the fine line and the balance. But let me tell you, everybody that knows me well say, I'm going to refer to the therapist. This is not my lane. This is not part of what I do. I'm always going to refer to the expert. So that's why when you're teetering on the side of therapy, you really have to have that credential. Refer them to the person. You can't do both in this scenario. And that's what I think she's doing. So I would just say, from this point forward, own it. Take a moment, take a sabbatical, come back strong, leverage it, leverage it. And it's okay. We understand. And be done.
What's your final words?
I would say that, like I said earlier, the intention and impact are not the same, and emotional maturity is definitely going to come from understanding that transformation will happen when you bring on both, and understand your history, your experiences, and how they're impacting where you are today, and be more intentional about, honesty.
Yeah, and I think that it's never too late to do the right thing. I haven't given up. I don't give up on anybody. I always have hope. I know people call me Pollyanna, but I always have hope for people to make the right decision. And it's never too late to make the right decision. It's never too late to correct course. And I'm just giving hope to the situation. I love the fact that so much attention has been paid to actual therapists. Therapists have been coming out and talking it somehow lit a fire under all of the internet therapists out there, actual therapists. And so there's been much more attention given and directed in the right places. So I just want to thank you, everybody, for having this great conversation. Hopefully this was uplifting. I'm hoping that you guys have some beautiful takeaways. This is not to tear anybody down, but this is definitely, this is an illustration of what we can learn from this unfortunate situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are forgiving people, and let's just move on from it. So we thank you so much for tuning in to The Real Table Talk. Do you have a sponsor for us, Doc?
Yes, it is sponsored by Healing with Dr. Alicia. Go to Healing with Dr. Alicia and make sure you get all your healing products, bath soaps and candles and all of their beautiful things.
And we know our good co-host, Shar Curry, had some things to say that were a little bit controversial about the Cheyenne Bryant, but you know what? It's all about perspectives. And we're going to toss it over to her so she can share it. All right, so y'all heard it here. We are back, but we're leaving. So thank you so much, Dr. Green.
Thank you for
the real
having
Dr.
me.
Green.
The
for
real
showing
Dr.
up.
Green,
And
the real Dr. Alicia, and the soon-to-be Dr.
Tiana Von Johnson. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
Bye.